started out with your designs. I wanted to partake in the stocking project. So I tried it and it did not go well for me. I struggle with anyway, I didn't ever do it. I mean, I did finish one stocking, but it wasn't worth sending. But then I thought, well, I'm going to try the little heart quilt.
Mhm.
So, but I didn't ever start it. And so now I decided that I would, because you added a coaster to that pattern. And so I thought, aha, there we go. I can do a coaster. So I thought, well, that'll be a snap, right? So I got the hearts cut out. A friend of mine has a machine. And so I started reading the directions and I just and looking at the files, I downloaded the files, but I can't figure out which file does what. I can't get them in order.
Let's go
I'm
through
just
it.
lost.
Let's go through it. That's why I suggested coming today, because I can actually show you online, and it's a lot easier than trying to figure it out in an email. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And I'll pop everybody there so I can see you all. Can you see my screen, Patricia?
I can. Yes.
Okay. So you got the heart to heart, small heart, right?
Yes.
And in the downloads, find your downloads here. We've got
Yes.
nearly all of our products have the same find your downloads here. And you can
Mm-hmm.
either go straight into the Dropbox, or there are the zip files.
Mm-hmm. And I did them all.
So you can download all of them. And I'm actually literally going to download them. So click it and it will download.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to download the coasters file and the designs for right now. And they will
Oh,
land in, I'm going to delete that one. They'll land in your downloads folder. Okay.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So let's extract all. Now, even though I can click into this and see all the designs, unless I've extracted it, I can't use the designs in my machine. So you definitely want to make sure that you've extracted all.
Mm-hmm. I have them all.
Okay,
And I can open them.
so let's see. Now the coasters were actually added as a separate thing. And which format are you using? Which embroidery machine do you have?
I'm sorry? Embroidery
Which
machine?
embroidery
I have
machine?
a Husqvarna Epic 3.
So you're using a VP3?
Right.
Okay. So in the coasters folder, you've only got the small, medium, and large. These are the designs that actually create the coaster.
Yep.
So just and it's always a good idea to look at what's in the designs folder first before you go to your machine, because not all of the machines will give you file names actually at the machine. It's
Okay.
interesting because I have an 880 and an 830. The 880 will actually give me file names on the machine. The 830 will not give me file names on the machine. Okay, so you've got small, medium, and large in the coasters folder, and
Right.
you've also got the instructions. Let me bring
Right.
that down here. So before we actually go there, let's also have a look at the designs folder. And we've got a folder for quilting, and we've got a folder for the applique. So from the designs folder, I went into your format, the VP3. We've got quilting designs, we've got applique designs. So in the applique, you're either on point or square. Let's
Right.
say square, then we actually get into the designs.
Right.
if we were to go into quilting, we've also got on point and square, and we've also got this folder called blocks, which is blocks that don't have the appliques on. So that's what we've got as far as designs go. When we go back in the instructions, this is everything that you'll need.
Right, I did that.
And so this is where you were having
That's
your
right.
challenge, figuring out what the
That's right.
designs are. So
That's right.
you want to first, so to make the coasters, for some of our coasters, so for instance, in Mel's Practical Joy, not Mel's Practical Joy, Poses for Mel, the coasters are all kind of, the design for the coaster is a single file and everything's included. With this Hearts collection, it's kind of a case of you can build your own design. So we've got 6 different hearts, we've got different varieties of quilting, and you can build your own design to make the coaster. So first of all, you want your quilting design. So you're going to go into the quilting square folder.
I did that and I chose the small one.
So we've got quilting square, and then you decide, which design do you want? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 6? Okay.
Well, under the
Let me
square.
just bring up the software, and then we can actually see what it's looking like in the software.
So you're under quilting square now. Oh, I'm under applique square. Oh,
yes. So I'm on in the main, in the designs folder, in your format VP3.
Quilting and then square. Okay, the quilting square. Okay, I've got that up.
Yeah. So
they're kind of empty.
no, they shouldn't be. Okay, let's just.
Well, no, I mean they're there. It's just that it's a heart, but it's in black and white.
Okay, let me so I'm on the embroidery software, but if you can imagine that you're actually loading designs into your embroidery machine. Okay, good with that? So if I load up the first design, let's see, where did we put it? We had it in the download. So we're in the designs folder, a VP3 quilting square. This is okay. So let's say we're going to go in with heart 1.
Okay.
So we're going to take the design 1S. Okay.
Okay.
So that's the first design loaded into your embroidery machine. So that's the quilting that goes around the outside.
Okay, so that's the first thing that goes in.
Yes.
That's first. Okay.
Yeah, that's the first thing that goes in. So next up, if we look at the instructions, you want to add the applique design for the same heart from the applique square folder.
From the applique. Okay. Okay.
So now I am going to, and remember, we're pretending that we're loading designs into your embroidery machine here. I'm going to go into the applique folder and the square folder, and we would working with heart number 1. So I'm going to take design number 1, and it should land right in the middle. All of your designs should land right in the middle. So they'll automatically be, plop right into the center, and everything will be in the right spot. So,
but Sarah, I've already stitched the first one. When the first one came in, I took it to my machine and stitched it. Is that right?
You can load all of the designs into the machine at the same time.
Oh, I can. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So hold that thought though. Hold that thought, because if we are purely following the instructions, the next thing says to add the coaster design for the size of the heart from the coasters folder. So this is your small, medium, or large. So we're working only with the small parts here,
Okay.
right? So
Yes.
now I can add the embroidery design from the coasters folder,
Pictures folder.
and we want the small. Okay.
Yes.
And that is literally a circle.
Oh,
That's
wow.
all there is to it. That is purely a circular stitching line. So
Okay.
when you come to actually stitch this, the quilting design, let's ungroup everything. So the quilting design, if you were to stitch color number 1, okay, let's just go back into the instructions a second. And okay, so then you're going to load a piece of medium weight tearaway stabilizer into your hoop, right?
Right.
And stitch color number 1 from the quilting design. And that is a placement line to show you where you're going to position your background fabric. So your background fabric is a 6 by 6 inch square,
Right.
right? So in your embroidery machine, you're going to stitch this, and it's literally a square, and then this bit in the middle here is an alignment line for if you are trying to align the quilting after you've done the applique. So you can ignore
Okay.
that part, but you've got a 6-inch, you should have a 6-inch square here. Let's just go into inches. It's actually a 5-inch square, but you've got your 6-inch square, so you're going to center that over the placement line,
Okay. Yes.
right? Let's see, where are we at? Actually, you're going to center your batting first, and then you're going to center the background fabric, and you're going to hold it in place using Scotch Magic tape, at least around the top and the bottom edges.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Then you're
Mm-hmm.
going to stitch color number 2, which is the actual quilting design. So by the time you stitch color number 2, you've actually, you won't see the placement line anymore because you've got your background fabric on the stabilizer and the hoop. You're
Right.
going to
Okay.
stitch the quilting design, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Next up, that was number 10. Okay, so number 11, skip over color number 3, which is the fabric placement line for the applique. Skip over the basting line in color number 4 and stitch the applique placement line.
Okay.
So that's color number 1, that's color number 2, that's color number 3. So skip past that. You don't need to stitch that.
Right.
And color number 4 is this basting line
That basting line. Okay.
and the applique placement line. So you don't need the placement line. It's not actually showing me because I'm working on a VP3 here, but you can use the controls on your machine to skip past the basting line. You don't need that, but you
Right.
do want to stitch out the applique placement line.
Okay. Okay.
And then
Okay.
you're going to fuse, let's go back here. Then you're going to fuse your hot applique in place, and it should be a perfect fit because it's a pre-cut
Right.
shape, right?
Right. Okay.
Then you're going to stitch everything up to the last color. Now, the last color is this circle that you added here, right? So you're going to stitch all of these things. And depending on which, I'm going to hide that so that you didn't stitch the basting line, but you did stitch the applique placement line. So this is what it looks like, depending on which heart you're working on. So
Right.
that you've got one more color left to stitch, which is this circle,
That
right?
circle one. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So before you stitch that circle, which is the last color on your machine, you're going to remove your hoop from the machine. You're going to center your second piece of batting on the back of the hoop
Okay.
and
Okay.
hold that in place with Scotch Magic tape. So literally put that on the back
On
side
the
of the
back.
stabilizer, hold it in place with tape, center
And then the back backward.
the back on the front of the hoop right side down.
Okay.
And you want to hold that in place using Scotch Magic tape. Now your back, your back is actually two pieces that you've stitched
Right.
together,
Right. And I did.
and you've got a turning hole, right?
Yes.
So when you go back to the machine and stitch the last color, it's going to stitch this circle, which is a seam line that makes this into a coaster, right?
Okay.
And your back is right side down over the top of this, and you've got a seam where you've got an opening in it for turning.
Okay.
So let's see. So once you stitch that, you're going to remove everything from the hoop, trim away the excess batting on the back. So from around the outside of the circle, and remove the excess stabilizer from around everything, cut away the excess fabric on the front so that you've got a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then you're just going to turn the coaster right side out and finger press. If you want to,
Okay.
press gently with an iron, and there you go. There's your coaster, and you can whip stitch
Okay.
your hole in
Okay.
the back closed, or you can use some double-sided quilter's tape or a little bit of strip of fusible webbing to make sure that everything is nice and neat.
That's wonderful. So I think that it's the design. So bringing in the designs in the right order, they will stack. I mean, they're not really
Yes.
stacked, but they'll stack in there. Then I send that whole in my software. Then I send all of that to my machine, and then I begin to stitch, and I know how to skip the stitches and so on.
Mhm.
So that's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
you
Thank you. That's
can
exactly what I
you
needed.
you should be able to do all of this in your machine. There's no need to
Yes.
do it in the software first, other than the only reason you might do it in the software first is because it's easier to see the file names and the
Mm-hmm.
folders.
Right.
But with most machines, you can add them in the same order. So first off, you want to add the quilting design, then you want to add the applique design, then you want to add the coaster design. And for the first design, you literally do the add a design to an empty screen, right? And then depending on which machine you got, like on my 8 series Benina machines, there's you can either load a new design or you can add a new design to an exit, whatever's already in the
Okay.
machine, right?
Okay. Okay.
And you should be able to do that. Kim
Okay.
is our Husqvarna Viking expert. Is Kim here?
So the trick is to understand in the directions what quilting square folder means, quilting applique square folder means, and coaster folder. That's where I think I got really confused. So I just have to read those names carefully and get the right folders for the right designs to go in the right
Yeah,
order.
yeah.
Okay. All
So
right.
Sarah,
look
I'm
at,
here.
let me
Sarah,
just add Kim here.
I'm here.
Kim, you have the a Viking machine, right?
Yes, I have 2 of them.
So can you add multiple designs in at the same time?
Yes. Yeah, if
I'm going to leave you two to connect offline about that if you need any help with that, Patricia. But Kim
Okay.
is our somewhat resident expert on the Viking machines.
well, I'm not an
I see.
expert, but I know them pretty well. I do that sometimes if I'm combining designs. You can bring in a couple designs. Now I do mine in software and then take it to the machine. There is a way to do it just on the machine, but I feel I have more control in the software. So that's why I prefer to use it that way.
Okay,
Okay.
so Patricia, if you have software and are comfortable using it, then that would be a good way to do it too.
Yeah, I have the Premiere Plus Ultra 2. I don't know what you have, but
I have Stoned, but right now I just have the free version. I got tired of paying for it when I wasn't using it.
I understand that. Yeah, no, I haven't made that switch yet. I've stuck with the Premiere. It's something I know, something I like, and I don't have to pay them every month for it. So,
Right. So Kim, are you
but
on
I'll
Facebook?
be
Is that where
glad
I
to
can
help
find
if
you?
you need it. You can message me, or you can just tag me in a post on Facebook. Either way.
Yeah, go into the Meaning of Life Designs Facebook group,
Okay, okay. So
and
so
then
you're within the Meaning of Life Designs Facebook group. I can find you. Okay. All right.
yes,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
just
Sarah. Thank you. Thank you.
you are welcome. So anytime you have questions, Friday Zooms are a fantastic place to come. In some ways, it's easier than
Yeah.
emails because it's so much easier to show you rather than trying explaining it in words on an email.
Oh, you're right. This was perfect. I would have still been confused because it was the naming that I wasn't getting. I just didn't understand and so I mean this is wonderful. Thank you.
Well, it also helps me for future instruction writing. Um, Let me just see that go. So this has been good for me too, because next time I can hopefully make it easier for somebody who's coming in as a newbie. I have a horrible tendency to think that everybody's done this before, so you'll know where to go to find everything.
Well, my goal is to do the Amazing Hearts one, and I am terrified. So I'm gonna get this one. I want to get these down so they're just a no-brainer. Like I think it was Jan said, it becomes muscle memory. That's what I want to get to.
Yes, yes, it definitely does become muscle memory. So all the technique
Wonderful.
for applique is the same. There's been very few changes in the last decade, actually, in the technique for getting a design exactly where you want it. It doesn't matter whether it's one design on one piece of background fabric or 100 designs on one piece of background fabric. My philosophy is if you know how to get one design exactly where you want it, it doesn't matter how many designs have already been stitched.
Oh,
So
I'm so excited.
start
So
small
excited.
as you are doing
Yes.
with a small
Yes.
project, and gather courage and gather momentum, and your skills will increase on a daily basis, as Jan was proving to us, and it definitely does become
Wonderful.
like muscle memory. So I'm so glad you're here.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
You are so welcome.